Let's have a look at the fourth passage. Now this talks about cities. It says that, in cities, the frenetic energy of crowds is feared and fetishized. So we fear the crowds also, and at the same time, we have an excessive admiration also for these crowds. So the author talks about the scenarios in which fear, comes to the fore. Then how it is fetishized also, that also the author talks about. So rubbing shoulders with strangers is considered both a pleasure and a pain of urban life, right? So both these two opposing views are always present. The pandemic temporarily disrupted this because people wanted to stay away from each other, right? So in fact it was thought that after the pandemic more and more people will probably move to the suburbs, but that was temporary only, right? Because we have now again seen that the residential property prices are at an all-time high. There are new demands to build more apartments, so it was just temporary. Then the author says that social scientists have long struggled with the question of density of crowds. To them, they can actually represent an engine for immigrant assimilation, economic empowerment, a site of diverting from the standard, a space for cultural freedom. So they look at the city as something positive. At the same time, in much of the world's poorer nations, living in the sprawl, okay, living with a lot of space, that remains a mark of affluence. So they would view the densities of cities as something negative, right? Density is something to be transcended. So the author then says, is there an alternative that lies somewhere in between these two opposing views? That does not look at cities as just positive or just negative. So the author raises certain questions that can we have another kind of density with close-knit communities, sustainable places where car use is minimized, consumption is decreased, and people can walk out their front door into a unique and enlivening environment. So the author raises these questions towards the end. This is what this passage is about. Question 13. Which of the following best describes the impact of the pandemic on the fear fetish balance? A. It has tipped the balance in favor of fear of city life for good. Let's verify that. It has fundamentally changed the way we look at our fears. See, our passage is concerned with the fear of city life and the fetishization of city life. This option right here seems to brought to me. C says, it seems to have momentarily disrupted our acceptance of city life. Let's verify this. D, it appears that it has temporarily made us fetishize city life more than fear it. Is it? See this. Let's have a look. It'll answer A, C, and D in one go. See, the pandemic fundamentally changed our acceptance of crowds and urban density. Yes, that happened. Okay. It created a sense of density dread. Yet, despite this rebalancing of the scales from fetishization to fear, so there was a rebalancing towards fear. Okay. The long term damage to the dream of living in large, crowded, even exciting cities seems to have been temporary. That means in the long term, there is no fear as such. Okay. In the long term, people still want to live in cities. And that's why residential property prices are at an all time high and there are new demands to build more apartments. So, our best bet is C here, right? See, it has tipped the balance in favor of fear? No, that was just temporary. Then momentarily disrupted? Absolutely correct. And when it comes to D Delhi, it says that it has temporarily made us fetishize. No, it temporarily made us dread it. So D is false as per the passage. Okay, D is false as per the passage. And C is the answer here. Easy in case you've understood that paragraph while reading the passage.